Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Warrior Mindset Podcast, where each week we chat with individuals to try and find out where their warrior mindset is. Everybody has struggles every day. We have pitfalls and we spin our wheels and gravel all day long. But what we're trying to do is introduce ourselves to individuals that have, walked the walk, right? And each day what we try to do is try to become a better person. And individuals that we're going to be interviewing as we go on week to week, we're going to be interviewing them and finding out what their mindset is, what their warrior mindset is. And with that being said, my name is Dr. Joe Martin, and I'm the host of the Warrior Mindset Podcast. And today we got a good buddy of mine, Jimmy Dexter. We've known each other, I don't know how many years now, about 3-4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to introduce you to some close friends of ours.
Yep.
And, Jimmy's got a colorful story. I think we all can learn a lot about him, and take some of the things from his past to make us better people in our lives too, But Jimmy, do me a favor. Give me a quick, introduction, where you're from, and, some of the beginning days of your experience.
Name is James Dexter. I go by Jimmy. Graduated Clovis High School in 87. Went to Kazner before that. Back then it was country. Everything that's homes now was all orchards and open fog land during the winter. Graduated high school, went in the military.
You're a Navy guy too, right? Navy
boy.
How many years did you go?
I did four.
I
did four. Probably the best decision I ever made. I should have stayed in. I went because my dad did, and he's always like, I am what I am because of what I learned there.
Right.
So.
What was your job duty?
I was a machinist mate.
Oh, machinist mate.
So I was a whole snipe, firefighter. I've been to all the firefighting schools that the government has. The last portion of my military career, I was assigned to the first lieutenant on Pearl Harbor, so I was part of the burial squad. So I was fortunate enough to do a few televised burials on the Arizona. I've done probably dozen or more burials at the National Cemetery in Honolulu.
And so for people who don't know what that is and weren't former Navy, kind of explain to that what
the burial detail is the squad of men and women that do the 21 gun salute, basically.
Right.
Those guns are capable of firing live rounds, so there's always somebody with a live weapon with them, because if those guns are taken for whatever reason, they are automatic weapons.
Yep.
And
in the wrong hands.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
So
how long did you have that duty? Is that like a 2-year?
No, actually, I had that about 9 months. The last few months, right? Maybe a little less, because it was right after Desert Storm. Because I was attached, because of some medical issues, I was attached to Subbase Pearl Harbor, loading missiles on submarines.
Oh, I got you.
During that time. So I got my deployment remit, but that's what I was specifically doing.
Right. And you come right back, you get discharged from Pearl Harbor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then you came right back to
came
Fresno?
back to Fresno. Mom and Dad were still living down in Ventura, because right after I graduated high school, they moved to Ventura for my dad's job.
Gotcha.
And my brother had just gone into the military. He was a Navy boy too. He was a hull technician, a welder. And that's,
How many years did he do?
He did 4. He's got a few welding codes that only a few people in the world have. He's got nuclear strength welding codes. Brother's super smart guy.
Yeah.
And he's doing phenomenal now. He's got his own uh, MMA club on the East Coast. It's Dexter Valley Tudo.
Where's that?
Just outside East Lyme, like Groton, Connecticut.
Oh, Groton. Yeah.
So he's got his number one fighter, Billy Geoff, just got a contract for the Ultimate Fighter Series. A couple months ago, they signed their contract. So, he fought. He has several, super heavyweight titles under his belt. I think 4.
Oh, your brother's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
And now he's made a name for himself as a coach.
Nice.
So,
did you guys both do that when you were younger? Like, were you kind of getting into that, or when did you start getting into it?
We did. We started fighting in bars because we were just knuckleheads, and
I think we all had our share of those.
The first time I'd gotten in trouble, and actually, I've been to prison, and when I came home, he had been training for a while on the East Coast out of a club called Strike Zone. And he did some research, and he said Pacific Martial Arts,
mm-hmm.
which is Matt Smith, Mike Pop, who passed away a few years ago. All the guys that are running that club pretty much all started rolling with me, and now they're all black belts and running the club pretty much. They're running.
Where did you start rolling?
Pacific Martial Arts
here in town.
Under Matt Smith and
Yeah.
Mike Pop.
That's where you
Eric
started.
and Jasper were my stand-up coaches.
When did you start? When was your, obviously besides fighting in the bars?
Yeah.
When was it official? Like, what were you doing? Were you rolling? Were you doing jiu-jitsu first, or did you
I was
striking also?
I was doing the stand-up. I was doing all the training. So to go back real quick, Mike told me, he goes, just go in there. Don't tell them that you can fight, because how we fought is not what they're going to teach you.
Yeah, 20 years ago or
fighting,
more, it's been different.
Fighting on the streets is way different than fighting in a cage.
Yeah.
There's some rules, not many. But just go in there and tell them this is what you want to do and this is what you want to learn, and they'll put you through the paces. So I went in, talked to Matt, and they had me take a wrestling class and a boxing class and a jiu-jitsu class and a Muay Thai class, and they set me down after about a week of coming in and taking a class or two during that week, and said, okay, this is you're fairly good here, you're not very good at this, but you're really good. He kind of evaluated me,
Right.
and they kind of just gave me a direction. And about a year and a half, because I was told that any real legitimate gym, it's going to be probably 6 months before they put you any kind of local smoker,
Right.
just to make sure that
They can take a punch.
So
Yeah.
they can gauge whether or not you're going to be able to handle it, going to be able to handle yourself. But you're going to spend at least 18 months or longer before anybody gets you a pro fight.
Right, right.
And that was always the goal. My cat, I think, had 3 or 4 fights at that point already.
How many years? What's the age difference between you and your brother?
4 years apart.
4 years.
Or 4.
Did you start rolling right after you got out of the military? Or at Pacific?
No, not when I got out of the military. I started. It was kind of when it all really started back before like UFC 1 and all those things,
Right.
before it ever became anything. It was kind of like the any which way you can type thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear about somebody down in Bakersfield that got good hands, or comes from their shoulders heavy, or back in the day, Moore's karate, and those boys, the Moore boys, were vicious. They were known for chunking them, and we would meet in dojos or fields in Stockton and
Yeah. You kind of have that.
turn some lights on in a car and see what you got. It was fist fighting without reason.
Yeah.
No attitudes, no anger. Have a beer before, a beer after, and like, man, you really caught me there.
Yeah.
Show me that little thing you
Now,
did
do
to
you have
me.
gloves? At least you have the.
No, back in the day, it was all bare knuckle, just
Yeah.
like it was in the UFC to begin with.
Right, right.
You wanted to hurt your opponent, but you don't want to hurt them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you didn't knock him out.
So
when was this? What,
oh gosh,
geez,
that was
90,
when I came
early-
home from the military. Well, I came home right after Desert Storm.
Yeah.
So within
91?
a year, yeah, so a year or two after that, that was when Black Angus and Fresno and Willikers and all those places. I've been in more fights outside of Black Angus with Fresno State football players than I care to shake a stick at.
So with that being said, some of those outdoor fights, you alluded to the fact that you were away for a little bit here and there. Was that from a lot of the fights more so, or?
Yes, it was. And then, I've had some anger issues, especially coming home from my first term. I don't think people really understand. I don't think they want to, because it's a taboo to really talk about it, much less to admit that you've been to prison. And I don't like talking about it.
Yeah.
But
that's one of those things.
Like you said, if I say something that's going to catch a kid from doing something I've done, because it's, in a lot of ways, it's ruined my life.
Well, and also too is like, I mean, I've known you for a while. I mean, like great dude. I mean, you definitely have rolled around, on the right side of these things. And if we can, like you said, that warrior mindset that I feel you have, because just inviting you here, because I know your personality. We've talked a lot about your history and whatnot, and I felt myself personally, and thank you very much for definitely accepting this. But if we can, in just this casual conversation, as people see this, this podcast, if we can make a change in some young guy or young gal,
oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? We're doing our job on this earth,
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if you don't mind, we'll just kind of ask little questions here and there. And if you're like, hey Joe, listen, that's just too personal, bro, we'll just move on. But I mean, was the first term, if you will, from just fighting and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was for a bar fight.
Fight.
In the 500 Club in Clovis, and I was on probation for something, and that fight got me violated, and it sent me to prison for the first time.
And how long was it first time?
The term was 4 years, and then I had a rather exuberant parole officer who felt it was her duty to keep me violated, so I did all 4 years back to back of parole inside. So
check.
So I pretty much did, 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
Eight some change. And then I'd come home, and I was home for almost 6 years. And during that time is when I started
fighting.
I started training. Mike had got me involved, but I was back and forth, and that was when I was fighting. So,
well, you told me too. You did you worked with a lot of kids too. I mean, you did glove work for a lot of young guys fighting and stuff like that.
Still do if I get the chance. I try to hold the pads for guys if they need. It's kind of an art, and it's a lot of guys don't do it because it's just as hard on the guy holding the pads, especially if somebody knows how to turn their hips over
and hit the hands
and kick your forearms with full blast or take a shot, even though you might have a thigh pad on.
Well, she'll do both. You'll do Muay Thai, and then you'll do regular boxing.
Yeah. So I'll do them both for anybody that's willing, that wants to spend the time doing it. Practice is the hardest part about it. I never went into. I've only got 11 fights, and I got
mixed martial art or
mixed
just
martial
boxing?
art.
Any boxing?
No boxing.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've competed California Classic, Grappler's X, Grappler's Quest, the U.S. Open, the Worlds. There's 7 gold medals, couple silvers. My first time in the U.S. Open, I took the silver. I was way up on points on a young kid in the men's open, and
he just catch you.
I was getting ready to just put smashing on him, and I wasn't focused, and he caught me in an armbar and just taught me a lesson.
Yeah.
And that's how I
It's like chess.
Yeah, it is. And I equate that. That's funny you say that, because I equate everything that I've done in the gym to fighting, and everything about fighting is exemplary about what they teach you in chess.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a chess game. Fighting is definitely a chess game, especially. And now more people are starting to see that, because so many people are involved in watching it, and there's so many people that you have no clue that the littlest girl or the littlest guy is a guy that's just wrecking people in a club.
Yeah.
Training, and people walk around still nowadays, and they talk to people in bad ways, and they don't even understand that little 90-pound sophomore in high school is going to eat your lunch and won't even have to bubble his fist up, dude. So
yeah, exactly.
But
what weight class were you fighting back then?
I fought 185s, and then I had 2 fights at 205.
Oh, okay.
At light heavies.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the heavier weight. I liked being, but that 20 pounds from 85 to 205, because you figure an 85er gets in the, you make weight 186 the 24 hours before fight, and then you have 24 hours to hydrate up. Yep. So you're getting in the cage at 95, 200 pounds. 205ers, you're making weight. Championship fights always right on the money. It's at 205. If not, it's 206. But light heaviers they're getting in a cage at 230, 235. Some of them.
No way, that quickly.
They're
within 24 hours.
They're cutting, because it's just all water weight.
They just blow right
There's
up.
a huge difference between a man that's 195 pounds punching you in the head or kicking you, versus even if he just puts on 20 pounds and he's getting in the cage at 220, 225.
He throws all that water into the legs.
That is a huge amount of power. Yeah. So as much as I liked it,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. But if I could have gone back, I probably would have tried to get a few more, because I've always wanted to compete in jiu-jitsu at a higher weight, but it was always at and jiu-jitsu tournaments are different. They it's not like 10 pounds. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 9, but it's like right at 10 pounds. So if there's a 185, it'd be like from 170 to 184, 185 to 194, 195 to
10-pound
20.
weight. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of categories, and then they have open divisions, both age and weight. So you could have guys that are, say you have a young kid that's a phenomenal blue or purple belt, and he's competing in a men's open, and he's 185 pounds or 170 pounds. Well, he could meet a 235-pound man in the finals.
Yeah.
And it happens more than you think.
Yeah.
I mean, the GOAT, in my opinion, in the grappling world is, Gordon Ryan. But that's no-gi stuff. I never rolled a whole lot of no-gi, especially when I wasn't competing, because there wasn't not many tournaments, or back then there wasn't many no-gi tournaments. It was all mostly gi stuff that I competed in. Now the California Classic was the biggest, or the first really big tournament that I was in, and I walked away with 3 gold medals in that. I got my weight division and my age group in the gi and no gi, and then I won the men's open in the gi. Did
after you did that little bit of stint, was life good for you after that? I mean,
yeah, it really was.
There was no returning?
No. When the fighting was over, and that was because I was blessed, like I told you just before we started, I got to travel all over the country and had a couple opportunities to travel outside of the country. I don't want to say I was smart enough, but I had enough respect for my coaches to where I applied, because most martial arts gyms will teach you the discipline you learn in the club is something that most young people inevitably will apply that to the rest of their life.
Right.
It's that discipline that I learned working with Matt Smith and Mike Pop, Dave and Dan Camarello, which were my black belts in jiu-jitsu, that got me home the second time. Because my first term, I hadn't trained. Now, I was training in between my violations when I was getting sent back. But then when I came home, I was home. I got home in, I think, March. Matt Smith he called me in like into November, December of that year. Asked how the training was going. I think it's going good. I'm training every night. I'm working every day.
Right.
And he goes, well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear because you got 30 days. I go,
what, you got a fight set up for
I'm
you?
like, what do you mean I got 30 days? He goes, I'm taking you to Oregon and I'm turning you pro.
MMA.
Yeah. So there's very few things in my life that I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
That moment is one of them.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
So,
and so you went up to Oregon for that?
Yeah, I took me to Oregon. I spent more money in gas than what I won in my purse. So,
hey, but you got the W, bro.
Yeah, I got the first two were W's, and then he came me down, and that's when with Lemoore had started. The WEC was down here in Lemoore, and I got disqualified in my third fight.
What was that for?
Oh, this is a point of contention in my life.
In your life?
Herb Dean DQ'd me for kneeing Mickey Martinez in a down position.
Oh, gotcha.
Now there's some
discrepancy.
Lots of discrepancy about it because it's kind of been a running joke for the last, I don't know how many years it's been. When I do see him, whether it's at a jiu-jitsu tournament or if I was in a fight someplace and I'd see him, I'm like, did you go back and watch that film? He's like, gosh, damn it, Dexter.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was a bad call. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go back and change my record. Yeah. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, but I give him a bad time about it. But yeah, I mean, it's, you don't like it when it's on your side that way, when those calls are made. But in the end game, you're there to hurt one another, but you're not there to, or should I say, you're there to punish one another. You're not there to hurt one another.
Yeah, yeah. And he was probably just doing his job. And
no, and I would rather have somebody.
Calls are calls.
I would rather have somebody stop a fight short, let him fight again.
Yeah, right.
Rematch it up.
Did you get to with this guy?
No, I never did.
Yeah.
The call was bad, whether it was bad or not. Mickey knew. Mickey raised my hand after, and then he got in the ambulance and went to the hospital. But I haven't talked to Mickey in years, or his brother Poppy's. But I hear they're doing good out there in Hanford and the Lemoore area, and I've remained friends with him.
Yeah.
And when I have seen him over the years, he's a great guy.
And how many fights did you have after that?
That was my third one. So I had 8, 9 more after that.
How did you do W's and L's?
6 wins, 5 losses.
Mm-hmm.
I had some biggest win was against a guy by the name of Dewey Cooper. They call him the Black Cobra. You still see him around a lot in the background.
Right.
He trains out of Las Vegas.
Coaching guys now?
Coaching guys. Yeah. He was the 2005 World Grand Champion in K1.
Oh, no way.
He was, like a week or 2 after we fought, he was indoctrinated in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. So I got a W over him. My next one was in super short notice fight, 3 days. The promotion, it wasn't WC anymore. It was the Palace Fighting Championships. They had a promotion through a sister casino in South Dakota. So I went with 3 days notice. I actually flew back with the camera crew.
Oh.
And all the rigging,
Right.
the setup crew, spent probably a day and a half in a van, they took me to North Dakota so I can get my clarification on all my meds done. Because you have to have MRIs and
Right.
scans.
Cleared.
Yeah,
You
you got to
gotta
be
clear.
cleared to get in the cage, even on tribal lands. And just got to go a couple of rounds with a young, tough buck. And, I picked him up and slammed him. And when I slammed him, he caught me. What exactly did he catch me in? He caught me in a guillotine. When I picked him up and slammed on him, as we bounced, he latched onto me, and there was not a whole lot I could do about it.
After that,
But
yeah.
and that's
That's the game.
That's the game.
That's why we use the term chess.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where talking to guys like you all the time that it's always you're always trying to figure out one or two moves ahead of what they think they're going to do.
Yep. And the second you take your hand off that piece, that was the wrong move to make. So
And there has been a couple of those times.
Yeah, and that was the wrong move. But I stayed in touch with that kid for a little while too. Great guy. I fought guys out of Club Voodoo and Merced. Jeremy Metcalf was a good, tough fight. I lost that fight as well. But I was never really one of those guys. I never turned fights down. I took most of my fights were on short notice.
Were you trying to stay in shape most of your career when you were fighting? Do you?
Because we were training.
Yeah.
There came a point like when I came home, and Matt took me up there. One of the things they're like, okay, they asked me what my sponsorship the situation was, because back then it was almost all fighters. The club would help you hustle your sponsorships. You hustled your own. I mean, like
selling tickets.
Yeah, like they would get you fight posters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're local guys, they tried to put the local guys on the fight pictures. They'd give you tickets. You get percentage of the tickets. Then they would give you blocks of tickets, and then you could get, turn in half that money. So you'd get half or whatever the percentage was of the tickets you sold. So like back in the day, it was Kimmy's in Clovis. Yep. She sponsored me a few times. George Brown's Roofing sponsored me. Paul Neufeld. He was my main sponsor the entire time that I fought. And back then it was Madtown Audio and Stereo. Cool Hand Luke was a tattoo guy out of the South Valley.
You're fighting as a true warrior.
Yeah, so I was hustling my own sponsorships, and I was having patches made and putting them on my gi for when I was competing in the jiu-jitsu tournaments, or I was having, because back in the day you have this, they had the things you could roll over the cage and had all your sponsorships. Yep. So every one of those little pictures, somebody was giving you money.
Yep.
They don't allow guys to do that no more.
Yeah.
The UFC and Bellator, I think they may allow them to throw a rag over, or tarp or whatever. But the UFC gets all that money now.
Right.
So all that money came to us. So if there's, if you had 6x6 and you had 100 different little pictures or business names on there, that could be a
little bit of money.
That could bring you the money. Mm-hmm. And then the T-shirts, Tap Out was big. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a lot of people still. I don't think a lot of people know this fact about them. For a lot of years, they were the largest clothing company in the world. Those guys were doing the thing.
Yeah.
Mask and Skyscrape and Punk Ass. Mm-hmm. Those guys, And then when Mask died, they kind of fell to the wayside, at least out of the public eye.
Yep.
I think they went into having watches and their own protein powders and just everything. But that's, they sponsored me one time. I'm out, I think it was my second fight in the Moor. And I knew Skyscrape more than I knew the other two. And I'd gone out to kind of look at the ring, right as is. And it was the biggest fight most people ever fought in front of. It was like 11,000 some change. And the venue was outside at the casino in the Moor. and everyone's setting up their booths, and I'm, checking out the cage and this and that, and Scrape come up and said something to me, and we talked for a little bit. He goes, "Hey, come back over here to the booth with me." And when they gave you clothing, it was like, it doesn't seem like it'd be a big deal now.
Mm-hmm.
But was them supporting you.
Promoting, yeah.
Look, here's a couple pair of shorts. Here's
Right.
some T-shirts.
Yeah.
That man, a couple.
And you wore it as you walked on.
Yeah, and that's why you'd wear it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just a matter of them putting, cash in your pocket.
Right.
It was, man, you guys like or believe in me enough to let me wear your emblem.
Did you think back when you were younger, like, you and your brother, 4-year difference, did you have, what was that mindset that you had to kind of get you to where you are today? Was it a parent? Was it an uncle? What, was it a job? Like when you just had, you have such a, positive, there's definitely some shit gone on in your life, but was there something back then that you kind of said, man, I'm modeling myself after this, or like individuals or something that happened in your life?
You didn't even really have to finish the question, because immediately my mind, and I'm pretty sure my brother would answer the question the same way, but it bothered me because, one, he's gone, and because I have made so many mistakes.
Right.
But my dad was everything to me.
And look at that foundation, bro. You got this guy like your dad.
It was, it stayed this way with me, and I'm sure it is with you.
Right.
My dad's word was his bond. He shakes your hand, the job is going to get done right. Get done the first time around. And that's just the bottom line. So I've tried to, I don't think that I've ever been one of those guys who says, okay, yeah, I can take care of that for you. And then get a portion of the way through the job and go, holy crap, this is going to be hard.
Right.
I can't do this. I can't finish this. That's not in my terminology.
See, and that's what's awesome here, because as I have these podcasts when we talk about this warrior mindset and people like yourself, the foundations, we're around the same age, and the parents that we had, my dad's passed too, and it's always one of those things, you work hard, and if you're going to do something, you're going to get it done. I've told this story a couple of times, same thing probably with your dad. I remember one time I grew up in New York and I'm delivering newspapers, and I've said this before, and my dad, it's cold. I said, Dad, can you drive me on the paper route this time, and I'll throw the papers out? He's like, hey, is this your job or is it my job?
My job, yeah.
And I go, well, it's my job, sir. He goes, well, and this is yes, sir, no, sir type stuff in my life, And I goes, well, it's my paper route. Are you getting paid or am I getting paid? Well, I'm getting paid, sir. Well, if you're getting paid, go wrap that bag around your damn bike and go ride the route. And it's snow and it's miserable back east and things like that, but that mentality that he had, hey, listen, if it's your job, you get that job done any way you can. He's like, it's not my job. And the same with your dad. It's like his word was his bond. And so I know your answer, but it's like, do you think that's the same way society's being run nowadays?
No, not at all.
All right, I knew that answer, everybody.
Yeah.
So what irks you about that? I mean, because we talk a lot about this, off camera and with kids, and
this is what irks me.
The fingers wagging, folks.
This is what irritates me beyond comprehension. When my children's mother tell me, well, it's a different age. You know why it's different? Is because we stopped expecting our children to do what our parents' children were expected to do, meaning me.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in this one simple fact. When it comes, my dad and my mom loved me to death.
Yeah.
They love me. They love me so much that they whooped my ass when I needed it. They talked bad to me, sometimes even cussed at me. Is that maybe the best way to do? Maybe not. But I'm not, as a parent, I'm not here to be my son's friend.
Dude, you've talked to me about this before.
I am not here to be your friend.
Yep.
I'm here to teach you right from wrong.
And how to be a man.
And I, unfortunately, I'm going to teach you all the wrong things or what is wrong. And look, this is, look
and the
behind
decisions
me.
you made. Yeah, exactly.
This is the road I've walked. Yeah. There's a lot of speed bumps, a lot of potholes. Yeah. Some places don't even have asphalt on it.
You're on a rocky road.
Yeah. That's not the path you want to go. I can't make you do it, but I can sure show you what not to do.
Exactly.
When someone tells me, well, it's a different time, you know why it's a different time? It's because we're pussyfooting it with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to be my kid's friend. I guarantee you. Before that, those boys are 25. They're going to go, I'm glad my dad was rough on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad my dad expected me to do the job A to Z, not A to F.
Yeah, fast speed ahead.
Not
one step at a time.
And I've used this with my stepson and both my sons and their mothers. And maybe I'm wrong for taking it that far ahead, but you're going to have, if you're one of those guys that your first job is, or you're lucky enough to have an office manager, or say you work construction like I do,
right.
You have a foreman that you like, count yourself lucky.
Oh my God, yeah.
Count yourself lucky that you like him.
Yeah.
About 10 times out of 10, that's not going to happen.
Right.
They say, hey, Jimmy, Monday morning, everything on that side of the job site, I need you to move it over on that side. If they explain to me why, count myself lucky.
Right.
Because they don't have to give me an explanation.
Right.
When I interviewed for a job, I said I would do and perform what I'm told to do.
Yeah.
On top of what, if there happened to be a written job description. I agreed to do those things. It doesn't say I'll do those things if given a reason why I'm going to do those things. No, your reason is the effing paycheck they give you at the end of the week. That's the reason why you do it.
And so many kids nowadays.
And you don't have to like what the job is.
No, or the guy.
You don't have to go to work if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to like the guy or the girl running the office manager. Say if I worked in an office and they're like, hey, Jimmy, we need you to have that pile of stuff. Or say it's your contract. You do something with contracts. I need you to proofread these and I need you to print them up right and do this. And I need it done by Friday morning, which technically means it needs to be done Thursday night.
Exactly.
Because it needs to be turned in to me first thing Friday morning.
Yeah.
How many times do you think that office manager or that construction foreman, definitely not a construction foreman, is going to go Thursday morning, hey, Dex, just say he doesn't even drive on the construction, on the site. Hey, Dex, how's that stuff coming along? Oh, I forgot.
Yo. Nowadays, they just expect that to be,
What do you mean?
It's no problem.
There's a week's worth of work that needs to be done between, say, 8:30 Thursday morning and 3:30 or whenever it takes you to get it done, because it has to be done today so we can do what I need to be done Friday morning.
Got you.
So that's what I meant by the pussyfooting around with these kids.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand that the word repercussion, that's a double-sided knife in my opinion. If you're between whatever grade, preschool to 12th grade, your job in life is school.
Yeah.
All the little chores you do around the house, that's what gets you the video games, staying out past dark on Friday or Saturday night with your friends, maybe an extra baseball bat, something to do. But you don't even have sports if your job's not done.
Exactly.
Best thing about Clovis school districts, I don't know about Fresno, but you have to pull at least a C average to play sports.
Yeah.
In this district. So that's good. And I don't expect my kids to get A's.
Yeah,
no. If a D plus is everything you have, I'd like it to, I'm going to push you a little bit harder to try to get that passing grade. But if you look at me and go, Dad, I just can't get it.
Right.
I can't. Now it's up to me to help you get what you need to get up there. But unfortunately, it's not even up to me at that point. You still can't play baseball or wrestle or track and field or football or whatever that thing may be. The job from 18 on is A to Z, not A to X, not A to Y, A to Z. Everything. Not everything minus one pallet, every pallet from that side of the job site to that side of it, anywhere, just not there. A to Z.
Right.
That's what's wrong with our, it's not the kids' fault.
Yeah.
They're the way they are because we allowed them to.
Right.
We got soft.
Right.
Because there's nothing soft about my mother. and there was, unless my dad felt it was going to physically hurt me, let him do it. He'll figure it out. He'll get it. If it don't, but when he says, "Nah, you're not doing that," you didn't ask him why. There was because he knew there was a reason.
Right.
Oh, and it was usually because you'd end up hurting yourself or something.
Yeah, I mean, many times in my life, I asked the parents or whatever, "Hey, listen, I want to go out with my buddies tonight." No, not tonight. Mm-mm. Well, why? Excuse me?
Yeah.
That question would be, "Excuse me?"
Yeah.
No, I'm good. And I guess I'm not going out tonight.
Yeah.
And that just because.
That goes to the repercussions. Well, yeah.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
They just said, no, not tonight.
It's good. Good repercussions. You get good grades.
Yeah.
All school year. You get to do pretty much whatever you want all summer. If you don't get good grades all school year, you're probably won't even have a bedroom door on your door. And you're not going nowhere, not doing nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Good grades don't get you horseback riding lessons. Doing chores.
Yes.
Doing your chores is what gets you horseback riding lessons. If you're not doing your chores, you don't get all those extra things. And it's a few things, and I've told all three of my boys, the fastest way to make me just lose my shit is I forgot, I don't know, or I think so. I don't know. All three of my boys
don't tell you that anymore?
No, they still do on occasion. But I'm like, how many video games you got in your room? If you got
a bunch.
If you got a bunch.
Got one, you got 20.
If you got 12 bunches, you didn't forget how to play near one of them video games. So how did you forget to clean your own toilet? Because I didn't use it. So why am I going to clean it? I'm damn sure not going to make your mom clean something that she's not going to the bathroom. That's your bathroom. Because there's going to come a time where that boy needs to, in some way, shape, or form, in my opinion, it's going to impress a young lady at some point in time. Yeah. This kid can clean, he can cook, he can do his own laundry. Yeah. He can even iron his clothes. Thank goodness from the military. Yeah. Well, but I knew that before I went because of my mom.
Oh no, I did the same thing. Iron shit when I was in high school.
I learned how to sew in the Navy. Yep. I can sew. Most kids nowadays they can't even change a tire.
Or they'll throw out the pair of clothes because they don't want to put a stitch in it.
This country doesn't even make manual transmissions anymore because our kids are too stupid to drive them.
You know what? I asked that
and maybe
question.
That's rough. Maybe they're not stupid. Lazy.
Yeah.
Too lazy to press in the clutch, let it out the same time that you push the gas.
How to get up a damn hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, And we're trying to, little by little, with these podcasts that I'm trying to, forge forward with this, that mental, mind, body type of thing, that warrior foundation type of mentality is like, and it doesn't have to be the like we're both service members. It doesn't have to be the physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it's that mental aspect. Get your stuff squared away. A, B, C, like you said, A to Z. Make sure things are squared away. Get organized. And there's a little bit of a couple of different podcasts. I've talked to different people on the guests on the show. Hopefully with the way we talk now, the way we are with our boys. I have two girls also. That we're hopefully one by one making a little bit of a change, because
hopefully it'd be nice.
It'd be nice because when you see stuff all out there on social media, man, half the time I shake my head and I'm like, oh my God, where are we going? Where are we going in this world?
Yeah, there's things about it. My boys, they watch YouTube of other kids playing video games.
Oh, dude, I never understood that.
I don't understand that.
No.
Play the video game yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking with my brother here. I don't know. This has been a couple months
I lose
ago.
my mind when I watch that. Like, you're watching another dude
Yeah.
play a video game. Bro,
Yeah.
why don't you do it yourself?
Yeah.
I just want to watch. What?
I told my boy, I told my oldest boy, I think. I told Michael and Jamie, I said, you guys watch. There's a handful of people out there nowadays, young kids, that are making the content and putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Of all the crazy stuff that kids should do, rightfully. If my brother, he goes, if we had cell phones and cameras, we'd be in jail.
Oh, my God. Yes.
I told him, I said, do you realize that all the stuff you guys watch, if it's 1 in 1,000 kids that are out there making videos of them doing crazy stuff, every kid when I was your age, we were out there doing all that together.
Yes.
We just didn't videotape it.
Yes.
I mean, I remember my brother, and I remember when my mom found out. So you remember the old VHS recorders?
Yeah.
They'll look like a regular news camera, basically,
right.
but that was what they sold, and you put the actual VHS tape in it. My brother was living down in Ventura, and they made a video. My brother had a little Camaro in high school where they had hung my mom's video camera out the car window.
Right. And they're driving?
And they were smoking the tires on my brother's Camaro, doing donuts. And my mom found that videotape. She's like, "Did you have my
car?
My video camera outside of the car while you were doing?" Nope. What's this?
Yeah.
What's this? That's just. Can you imagine if we had a cell phone that we could just all the things we would have videotaped?
Yeah.
He's like, we'd still be in jail.
Oh, yeah.
That we did so much.
Nowadays, it's like the stuff
They
that's out
don't
there.
know. They want to watch somebody on YouTube doing it, or Instagram or TikTok videos or something.
Well, getting outside nowadays, I talk to people all the time. Is like, what got me involved in doing this podcast, just talking to people. And I got the patience, and I'm in the gym, and the gym I own, and it's like, from say 40 and above, you're outside. You're playing in the stream, you're jumping in the river, you're jumping in the lake, you're riding your bike and going into town and grabbing a slice of pizza or whatever the heck it is.
Yep.
Your mom's telling you don't come back till dark.
Yeah.
Now these guys, and you use the example too, and I got a boy too, but it's like they sit there and watch the videos, and it cracked me up. I forgot all about where they watch somebody else watching playing the video.
I'm like, oh my gosh,
I could never understand that.
What are you doing? I'm watching this guy play this video game.
Well, why don't you play it?
All right.
And then you try to get the answer, and you just walk out of the room. You're like,
yeah,
okay, you go ahead and watch the guy. Watch the video.
Wouldn't it be funner to actually play the video game?
Yeah.
But he's teaching me how to play it, Dad.
Yeah.
So it's I forgot. You didn't forget. And I've had problems, with their moms, and because they're like, you're too rough. No, I'm not too rough. I'm not, putting them down. We know instinctively. If that was a little girl, if I had a little girl, all I could do is love her.
Yeah. Yes.
Just love her.
Yep.
But that little one, that little guy, right? Everything that goes through his mind, it's gone through mine. So I know what he's thinking. I know how he's gonna. I know his job besides school. His job is to how far can I push Dad? Can't push Dad at all. How far can I can run Mom over the cliff? Grandma and Grandpa wrapped right there. Other Grandma and Grandpa right there. Sister, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
That's a boy's job.
Yeah.
How far can I push everybody in my life? Except for Dad.
Because you're screwed.
Yep. That's exactly what.
That's exactly it.
And you can't tell me no.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Unfortunately for me, I still do that on occasion.
Yeah. I remember the high school days coming home, and my dad may be sleeping on the couch, and you try to get into the house because you've been out partying with your boys. I'm in high school, and my house back in the East Coast, my room was the basement.
Yeah.
And man, you try to open that door to go to the basement, and thing creaks, and you're like, shit. And he's like, where were you at? And you're like, gosh damn it. I'm screwed.
I've been stuck outside for...
Yeah, I've been trying to get in for an hour and a half. Yeah.
I didn't want to wake you.
Yeah, I did. Hey, so here's the thing too, is like, that's kind of awesome. You talk about your dad and, the influence that he had on you back then. When you were away, because we talked about this a little bit, who, for example, do you feel, if there was anybody, that was a positive influence? Because I know you told me you did some glove work with some of the guys, when you were away, right? Yep. From a physical fitness. So that was kind of like your thing that people knew about, that was that seemed to be, when we talked about it before in the past, you and I just chatting away. Was that a positive thing? Was there individuals in there that allowed you to do that were...
Well, in that situation, it took, when that happened, when I was training with those two guys, I was in Old Folsom, and I'd been there for quite a few years already. And the first couple times they had the mitts there for us to use, but they really wouldn't let you use them, especially if...
well, you knew what you're doing.
If you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because they took that as...
aggression, possibly.
How do I say? They took that as a threat. But then they learned that right off the bat, I only worked with one kid.
Right.
And that kid was told with no uncertainty, I'm not teaching you this to hurt somebody.
Right.
I'm teaching you this to show you discipline, because he was from Fresno, and I had connections to him. We were cellies for the first year and a half that I was there, and then he was my driving partner for 6.5 years that I did stay there. When he started getting good, and he was good, other guys wanted to start doing it. Okay, I can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys want to show up? I didn't do that same process with him, because the conversation was had from him from the gate. First off, because I wanted to teach him so somebody could hold him for me.
Right.
So I taught him. And then other guys wanted me to teach. No, I don't. First off, I don't know who you are.
Right.
I don't know really a whole lot about you. And then, more importantly, the officers squad wasn't going to let me do it.
Right.
They're not letting you teach martial arts on a prison yard.
Right.
Just not going to happen. There was no kicks allowed. After 4.5 years, I think they started to allow me to teach somebody how to throw knees.
Now, was it just, say 4.5 years, was there did this kid get out and then you get to teach somebody else?
No. He was my partner. He was doing a long stretch as well.
Check.
So
it was mainly only him.
Only him.
Yeah.
And then it was one other guy. This guy's name was Brandon. And then it became another guy from San Diego named Paulie. And
how'd you get that little release? How'd you get that little lead off on it?
Well, it's because we knew they were videotaping us.
Gotcha.
And because I'd been there so long, they knew I wasn't a troublemaker.
Yeah.
They knew I wasn't allowed. I wasn't just teaching some random knucklehead. And they knew that if somebody that I was working with did something, that it wouldn't even have been a matter of them getting him. I would have done something about it.
Oh, check. Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the only way, the way that I found out that they were videotaping us, and they actually used it to their benefit, is because, now granted, most CDC correctional officers, they keep themselves in fairly good shape.
Yeah.
Because they realized in a very short period of time after they took the weights out of the prisons, that was a bad thing for them. Because I'd rather have, if I was a correctional officer, I would rather have big guys that could fight for 10 seconds versus guys that are 25 or 30 pounds lighter but can do burpees for 6 or 7 hours straight.
Right.
because those guys are going to fight for ever.
Yeah.
Those guys, and I mean, and
yeah.
the majority of the time when there's fights in prison yards, your hands aren't empty.
Yeah.
And, you know, my military experience, that's where my PTSD came in because of the levels of stress.
Mm-hmm.
The level of violence that I had to witness and then even on some parts take place in prison, threw my PTSD to a level that most people can't even comprehend.
Oh, yeah.
Because unless it's, you know, guys now coming back from Afghanistan and, you know, guys that have seen serious combat.
Yeah.
It's on the same level.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between watching one of your buddies take a bullet versus watching two people try to kill each other with knives.
Yeah, exactly.
That's up close and personal, and it's damaging. It's not more damaging, but it's damaging on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
That it warps your mind, Doc.
Yeah, yeah.
I still have nightmares.
Yeah.
It's affected my marriage. It's affected how I deal with my kids. It's affected everything. Everything. Sometimes I don't even know when it's going to attach itself to a thought or an argument, or which may be why people are afraid of me, because they think I'm a loose cannon.
Yeah. But I think what you do, like one of the things that, you know, because I've known you a while and we got this gym on the other side of this studio here. When I've talked to on different podcasts before, how exercise affects mental fitness.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, you're the epitome of it. So even when you were in, you know, you were able to, thank God, you know, been able to get out some of the stress in your life twofolds. That, you know, warrior mentality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing that fitness to keep yourself mentally strong. So you have PTSD from the military, you have PTSD from, you know, being away, but also too, the positive aspects of that, which you had at the time.
It kept me focused.
Exactly.
It's, you know, that and the respect that I held for my coaches.
Exactly.
Both. Because when I came home, one of the first things I did was I went and talked to Matt Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pop was still alive at that point. I drove to San Jose and I seen Javier Mendez and Dave Camarillo, and then I drove to Bexfield and seen, you know, Daniel,
mm-hmm.
because they were my black belts.
Right. And you brought yourself into that, you know, into that circle. You know, it's almost like
it's the discipline they taught me,
and it brings you back mentally.
That helped keep me focused.
Yeah.
To the point to where, I mean, I came home on time.
Mm-hmm.
For really only one reason, because I was able to stay focused. Exactly. I was able to put, because I was approached early on and I had decisions to make. I'm either going to go and do this or I'm going to do whatever it takes, even if it puts me at a little bit of jeopardy or even a lot of jeopardy, to try to go home and be a part of my kid's life.
Right.
And that's what I did. And then I get home and everything goes great for a couple years, and then I have an episode, and I just feel like I flushed my life.
Did you have to go back in?
No.
Oh, you're done.
No.
Yeah. So like, you know, since we've known each other, I mean, you know, and like from our podcast, you know, audience, I mean, Jimmy and I have known each other for a while now, and you know, you're not gonna see any more of a positive person that I feel. You know, and just talking to you and talking to the audience too is the fact that, you know, I've dealt with a ton of post-traumatic stress people in my career. I work with a company called TRX. I've mentioned this a bunch of time. Great company, but as the doctor plus teaching functional conditioning, I brought this piece of equipment through all of the, you know, wounded warrior battalions and things of that nature. And I got to talk to people, plus as a former team guy, and then the education as far as in the medical field, that this exercise that you're doing when you're keeping yourself, because I've known you for a while, you're keeping yourself fit, you know, you're keeping yourself, you know, physically active, we could talk on another podcast about the whole motorcycle accident, but that's a whole nother,
Yeah.
hour and 5-hour story on the motorcycle accident. But even after healing from that, you'd use the exercise as much as possible. You try to stay healthy from a diet point of view. But one of the things from that warrior mindset, and we'll kind of, come into a little bit of a close on this, that warrior mindset that you have, that I really wanted you in here to discuss some of the things, because you're so open, first of all, with me. And I think, we talked about before you bring it on here, open with the public, is the fact that the warrior mindset that you have, you want to instill that upon other people. You know what I mean? You want to take some of these young bucks and gals and train them from that mental point of view to, hey, listen, if I can make a positive effect in you now.
Yeah, they need to be these, and it's not just boys, it's girls
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh, no, of course.
Young kids nowadays need to know that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
Life is not supposed to be easy.
No, we're not on this earth to be. Yeah, it's not.
I knew guys that had, I never wanted to be the guy that was 15-0.
Yeah.
Because of the way I look at it. And I'm not downing guys that have
course.
never lost.
Yeah.
I just felt like if I didn't take the short notice fight, if I didn't, oh my God, there's a tournament in Vegas this weekend, I'm going. Boom. Whether I train for it or not, I'm going to test myself against guys that are preparing to test themselves. You don't learn anything from
Not losing.
Yeah. I never learned a thing in a fight that I won.
Yeah.
I knew what it took.
Yeah.
It's the fights that I lost. It's the damage I took is what gave me, you know what I mean?
Right. And I build upon that, become better.
And it's because it flashes in my head. Okay, so there's a guy named Gabe Rudiger, and he was on the first season of the next Ultimate Fighter. And he was that guy that just pull me back in the sauna. I gotta get this last 2 pounds off. He's playing it off, right? They ended up not getting kicked off the show. But Dave was there the night that I lost to Mickey. And he told me something that I've always remembered. He goes, anybody can be the hammer, Dexter. Just see how you are when you're the nail.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Unfortunate for me, I put myself in position to be a nail more times than I do the hammer.
Yeah, but guess what, though? The positive aspects of that, we all have wins and losses along the way. But it's that last loss when you can stand back up again. You know what I mean? You can stand back up again and go, no, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, why, you being with me today on this show, we can hopefully, have people watch this and go, here's a guy that's been in quicksand. Here's a guy that's been, spinning his wheels in gravel, right? And somebody threw him a rope. Somebody, he finally hit pay dirt, and there's still things that are going on in your life, and there's still things that they're being corrected along the way. But what you do is you never stop learning. You never stop going forward. And I use the mindset a lot of times is, and we've said this a bunch of times on the podcast with the SEAL team motto, it's the only easy day is yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. And with you could, you attest to that, because yesterday's already gone, bro. The loss is already there. The win is already in the past. What are you going to do today? You know what I mean? If you can, in leaving, I want you to kind of finish up with some final notes on this. But if people can understand that each day they got to get up, they got to put on that armor, they got to get their minds right. Each day is a new challenge. Yesterday's already gone. You know what I mean? The only easy day was yesterday. It's already gone. Well, how are you going to build? How are you going to put on your armor today? How are you going to deal with people today? How are you going to deal with your kids, and society, And we'll just kind of close up a little bit. But 2 questions for you. One is, if you had to make any suggestion to any young folk nowadays, young guy, that even sounds like I'm freaking old.
I know.
Some young folk, the younger generation, what would you say? Like, just a couple words. Like, what would you say to the younger generation that is going through freaking hell right now? Because it's crazy out there. Like, what would you say? hold on tight.
Expect things to be hard.
But there's got to be a
But
button there. But.
And I want them to expect things to be hard. You should never want things given to you.
Yeah.
Because you appreciate it more. It's the old saying our dads used with us.
Yep.
When you fight the fight and you put the armor on, I know what you mean, God's armor. First off, the battle's already over.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to see it that way.
Yeah.
The only way we can see it is from hard work. Because anything easy is not work.
Yeah.
And you don't get nothing in this world without work.
I know.
Nothing.
That's a good point.
And I think the second thing would be, don't look backwards.
Yep. And that's why I wear that thing every day. You know, it's a shirt they have with the teams. The only easy days yesterday. Do not look back. Do not look back.
If you're looking over your shoulder, it's not a matter of if you wreck. It's just a matter of when you wreck. Because you're not looking forward.
And you know why the windshield is so big and the rear view mirror is so small? Amen, brother. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for being on board, man. We opened up some good stuff here today. Man, it's like, you know, you wear that armor every day. And I know we know where we are faith-wise, and we know we believe in God, and we're here on this earth for a reason. I think this podcast today was here for a reason, for some people to know a guy like you wears the armor every day, and you have that mental mindset that you're always trying to get better. And what I'd like to, you know, let the audience know is, you know, a guy like Jimmy's a good buddy of mine. And, you know, if any people out there, you know, do suffer from post-traumatic stress. And ironically, Jimmy brought up a good point in the fact that it doesn't mean it has to be in the military. We both served in the military, but it doesn't mean post-traumatic stress comes from any type of war. It can, and it does. But, you know, loved ones, home stress, anxiety, things of that nature also cause, you know, stress also. And please, you know, seek out, you know, someone's help. Obviously, you know, there's things out there for you. Our military advocates, just regular people out there that are in that industry from a clinical point of view. Jimmy does a great job, and I promote it too from the exercise and fitness and nutrition point of view. Research is out there on how that reduces a lot of stress too. But, you know, from that point of view, hey, listen, go get some help. But once again, hey, Jimmy, thank you so much, bro. Love you. And, you know, we look forward to seeing you guys on the Warrior Mindset podcast. If you like what you see, definitely subscribe. And as I say, like below. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time on the Warrior Mindset podcast. Thank you.